Hi, welcome to Getting Real. I'm the host, Monique Halm, and on this show, we focus on real, raw, authentic stories around real estate investing. And I'm super excited to have a special guest with us today, Desiree Dubois, who is a founder and CEO of Homework. She's also a really good friend. She's been a mentor of mine, and gosh, probably known her 14 years, 15 years. It's been
20, 15, 20 years?
yeah,
Long time, long time.
a long time, and
Wonderful time.
I'm so excited that she's here. She is a lifelong entrepreneur. She began her entrepreneurial ventures at age 12 and got into real estate in 1989. She's been the founder owner of multiple businesses and real estate ventures throughout the years. She was the creator of an Empowered Woman Network. It promotes women's empowerment and now investment in real estate. She's the founder of Homework, a co-living and co-working space initiative for digital nomads, remote workers. You can um, and she's launched a $10 million fund for property acquisitions in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and around the world. And she offers a masterclass called Syndication Simplified with her husband Gary. And I'm really excited to have her here today to talk about just syndication, which is essentially crowdfunding real estate, is bringing investors together to purchase larger properties. And so we're going to talk about that and just a little bit about her background and just get real. So welcome, Desiree.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. I'm excited. I think there's a lot of information that we can share and to empower your audience. So let's go.
Let's go. All right. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and what inspired you to start Homework.
I've been an entrepreneur again since I was 12 years old, just starting different businesses. And over the years, it became very easy to do it. So that's when we started Empowered Women, so they could be able to share that information with them on how to start, fix, and build their businesses. And I but started in real estate in 1989, first as an agent, and then later as a broker, and then most recently, the last 20 or so years as an investor. So in real estate, we've done fix and flips, we've done multi-residential, notes, triple net, short-term rentals. Kind of, it's great about real estate because you can do all those different asset classes and learn from them and decide, okay, this is really my sweet spot, which is where I found in syndications.
Awesome. And so what has as you've gone through it and you started Homework, what got you to start Homework?
I think myself, I became an empty nester. My last son, I had two sons, moved off to college, and I was home and I enjoyed being in a house. I tried living in a condo for a while and I just missed being in a home. But I didn't want to be there by myself. I enjoyed being around other people. So I thought, gosh, one day I woke up, I was like, I wish I could just live where I work and work where I live anywhere in the world. And that would offer me the freedom and flexibility that I now had to be able to travel and work at the same time. And so that's how it was started. So I got the first property, and it was 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, and then it was short term and midterm. Then we realized that during the pandemic, it was much more profitable to get more bedrooms and more baths. So that's when we got the property in Golden Hill, 12 bedrooms and 12.5 baths. Then from there, we said, okay, this is really working. People are really interested in it, especially post pandemic, because
Mhm.
now you have even a brighter market of entrepreneurs, like engineers and accountants and HR and insurance and attorneys. Now everybody was working remotely or could work remotely, and so we launched one in Baja California in Cabo San Jose, and that was the 12 bedrooms and 12 baths. And then the bug hit us. Okay, now we want to go to Vegas and Seattle, and we kind of followed the trends and followed the markets and did polls and found out where the most popular places were. But we ran into the the problem of managing. He spent a lot of time managing the managers because he had one manager here, one manager there, and
Mhm.
creating consistency. And even not only in the process, but in the community, it was difficult. So that's when I started searching, and that's when I found Outside.
So tell us about Outside. What is Outside?
Outsite is the largest, I think currently the largest co-working co-living management company. They book and manage properties. They started in 2015 in Santa Cruz, California, and they have over 50 properties in 17 different countries. And they have over 5,000 members from 40 different countries all over the world. And so what they do is they book and then they manage the properties. And they also are specializing in co-working co-living, because that was the tough part of it. A lot of the places, other places, they could just book people on Airbnb and VRBO, but that's not building a co-working, co-living community. And they get that. So that's why it's a perfect match. But they wanted to expand, but they don't want the real estate. So that's where we came in and said, okay, we'll get the real estate, we'll raise the funds, do the syndications, the funds, and buy the real estate, remodel and remarket it, and then turn it over to them to book and manage. So it's a perfect match.
And what you're talking about is definitely one of the biggest lessons that I've learned through my career is the importance of having the right fit partners, right?
Yeah.
People that have the right skill set for where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. And when you have that magic, it is wonderful, right? When you have the right team, especially the property managers, because they will make or break your investment.
Yes.
And but when you have that, it's really great. When it's not it's not a match, it can be really, really bad. That's been one of the biggest challenges that I've faced. What have you found has been one of the biggest challenges that you've faced with your investing?
Well, again, like you said, the property managers are crucial, and you have to manage them. If you don't, they will just go rogue, because it's not that important. You're one of many to them. You're a number to them, and many times this is your revenue, this is your income, and especially if you have investors, this is your accountability. So it's not just for you; it's for them. Everybody wants to win. But I think in investing, I think one of the situations that that lesson is a really big lesson learned. And it's difficult because when you make an offer on a property, the traditional process is to make an offer and to deposit cash deposit into escrow for them to hold while you do your due diligence. And in some areas it's 3%, but in Mexico it happened to be up to 10%. And so there was an situation where we had a property that was 1.4 million. We had deposited $140,000 cash into escrow, and the property was going through a probate. They kept extending the probate period, and then when they were finally ready, we needed an extension because we were just in the thick of remodeling the other property in Cabo, and we could no way stop and start that while we were still doing the other thing. But they refused. So it created a conflict, and we wanted to cancel the escrow, but they didn't want to return the money. So we had to get an attorney to represent us from that process. And again, technically, there were a lot of things that they did forfeited on, as far as the time, as far as all the CCNRs and just different things like that. So there was a cause for our termination. So we filed an attorney, we went back and forth, and they didn't want to release it, or very, very, very little. Come to find out, when we were trying to decide, okay, do we take this to the next level, which actually files a lawsuit and go to court, which is very timely and very expensive, we found that they had sold the property. They sold the property while it was in escrow, the same escrow company that had our $140,000 deposit. And technically, you think, okay, well, you can't sell a property if it's in escrow. I mean, it's in escrow. You have to need the signature of the judge, court, or the buyer and seller to agree to release it so you can sell it to somebody else. But they did. And then our response was that, well, you can't do that. But the thing is that our choice was either to pay more money now to go to court and to file a lawsuit for it, which at that point you realize that's not going to be worth it. It's just the time and the money, it's not going to be worth it. And so we had to resettle for a very, very, very small amount of it to get back. But, that lesson. So now, as I'm approaching different offers, we make offers, a couple of offers a week, is that I am very, very, very strict about releasing funds in escrow. My deposits are very minimal. I increase them as we go along. So maybe like the first 10 days is a small amount. I mean, literally like maybe $5,000. I think of it the amount that I would be willing to lose.
Yeah.
if need be. And then after certain contingencies, I will increase it. And after other contingencies, I will increase it. And then the balance will be there. And which is tough because a lot of sellers and a lot of agents don't want to do it that way. But, for me, again, that's the lesson learned. And we're not taking that risk anymore because, again, you work hard for your money and you can't control. And people say, oh, there's in the writing, it's in the contract. So what? If it's in the contract and you have to dispute it, that means you're going to put out money for legal fees and you're going to put time and energy, which is, we all know, it's a drain. It's a drain.
Yes. That is a big challenge. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So definitely learned that lesson from you. And that happened in Mexico. So I know that when you are investing internationally, these things, you really have to look at the culture and how well the country will honor the contracts that exist, right? So
the escrow was here. The escrow was in Texas.
My gosh.
There was an escrow company in America going by the same guidelines, the rules and regulations throughout the United States. And they held the money and they
oh, wow. It's a US based escrow company that did that.
We made that specifically for those reasons. We said, okay, if we're going to do that, we need to, we want the money to be held in the US so that we weren't subject to anything else internationally. It was right here in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
I'm like, did we say what company this is so nobody else uses this? That's really horrible. Yeah. What's the company? Everyone beware of. What's the company?
Remember the girl Heather? I have to find out for you.
All right, I'll have to find out. And everyone's like, watch out, run from these people. That's really
escrow officer selling it to another property, to another owner, knowing that property is still in escrow, there's funds being held.
Wow. That's something. Okay.
Okay, so anyway.
I don't remember that name, but we'll share it so people don't watch out. This happened. Oh goodness. Well,
so the point of that though is that you have to establish what you're willing to do, and if it means losing a deal, then it's now when the agents know that that's my position and it will not change. And sometimes I share it with them. They say, oh, it's an escrow, it's legal. I said, no. Okay, let me share something with you then, because it's not, and so if they don't want to work with you on that, then that's fine because I don't need to worry about that again,
Yeah. And and definitely no deal is better than a bad deal. And I think that when it's the right property for you, things will be smooth. Right?
Yes.
There may be plenty of fish in that sea.
You
don't have to settle for a buyer that won't work with you, and a seller that won't work with you.
Yeah.
Or agents. All right. So you have started this $10 million fund. So tell us about that. So what made you launch that, and what are its goals?
Well, we were doing individual syndications per property, and with our partnership with outside, and that was just a great way for us to scale. So if you're thinking about scaling, think about what your heavy lifting is, and what's holding you down from doing that, or what's prohibiting you from doing that. And that was that management part of it. And it was a lot of, and be persistent. I reached them about 6 or 7 times. I had to keep asking, ask this person, ask for another person, ask another person, until I finally got to the founder, and I shared what we were doing and how it was, and he agreed. I said, okay, this is a perfect match because we don't want the real estate part of it. And saying that's what we want. That's what the money is the real estate part. So again, that has allowed us now to scale. It's given us more credibility, more visibility, and we haven't even done the pre-R and the launch yet. We're just waiting for them to do the other Cabo property. They're going to remodel their other property. So with that, we said we need to be able to buy properties and acquire properties faster than the one-off. You find a property, you go to raise the funds, and you go back. So we wanted to raise the $10 million, which will give us a runway of about at least 5 to 6 properties, depending on the price point of them. Most of our properties have been around the $2 million, $2.5 million range. So it should give it's that range. Plus, we're leaving the X amount of dollars for reserves. And we have X amount of dollars reserved for doing a special project, a special give back project. There's a young lady here in San Diego that's developing homes for battered women. And so we want to sponsor one of the homes, literally acquire the property and have the members or the investors help renovate the property and have her operate the property for, battered women, because there's a lot of people that need homes and need that hands up. So that's what we're doing with it.
I love that. Love that you have that give back. Um, I find, we have some causes that we support too. And why do you think that's important?
Because it's it's an airplane and they never fly over.
I'm like, what is that noise? What are we listening? What are we hearing? Oh, there's a plane flying. Okay.
You were too obvious for me not to respond to it. It's the airplane. Airplanes never come over here, but there we go.
Okay. Well, you know what? Life happens. So, all right. So there's this.
I can't control that.
No.
It's important because first of all, it's a feel good. It's and then even with the right accounting, it can be tax deductible or it can be a benefit tax wise, but that's not our intention. It's a feel good, and when you give, I feel that you get. And I think everybody in our community, our investors are awesome, and they have that in their heart, and we have it in our hearts to do that. So you have the opportunity of doing it, and it's important.
Yeah. Great.
And it's still real estate. It's still going to appreciate. It's still going to be.
True. Do good by doing good. So you have a masterclass that you do, this weekend-long masterclass, Syndication Simplified. Tell us a little bit about what that is and why you created it.
I created because myself, and as long as lots and lots of other people, specifically women, do not know what syndications are about. I realized when I learned it in detail that I have been doing it for years as a realtor. Putting people together to buy the assets, me getting the commission coming and going, and then doing the heavy lifting and selling it. But so a lot of people want to own property, they don't have the funds. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the bandwidth. They're geniuses in something else. They don't have the credit to qualify for larger properties. So syndication is a way to do it. I mean, you literally can buy a property without any of your own monies or credit. And so that's what syndications offer you. And I think so many people will be able to build their portfolios if they knew that skill set. And it's not that difficult. It's more difficult to get a manicurist license than to do syndication. It is, and it's much more profitable. They don't really know how profitable it can be because of the fact that, again, there's so many different ways you can do it, and there's so many different price points. No matter how expensive the property is, you can buy it, hold on to it, manage it, maintain it, liquidate it either through a refinance or through a sale. And then now if you refinance it, you can have the property yourself. You pay the investors off and you have your property yourself. I mean, there's so many ways of being able to do that, and it's not that difficult at all. So a lot of realtors are scouring out there trying to find the next deal. This is an easy transition for them because they have the market, they know the market, they have the clientele who know, likes, and trust them in the industry. And it's assured, it's finances that you can assure yourself that you're going to get profits. It's very, very profitable and much easier than driving clients around.
I can imagine. I mean, syndication is the main way that I invest in real estate. Mm-hmm. So I'm obviously a big fan. And I know you're going to be holding one of these this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. You want to tell everyone who's listening a little bit about it, and
yes,
you have 2 spots left, so if anyone's interested.
Yes, we had some last minute cancellations. They were here for a certain event and the event was canceled, so 2 people had to leave. But it starts on Friday, and Friday what we do is we have dinner and then we play cash flow. And that's great. It's fun for those, especially those who have never played it, but it helps them learn more about their mindset, their money mindset, and it gives us an insight on what their money mindset is. And then then Saturday we start at 8:00 with breakfast. All the accommodations, all the meals are included, and we go through everything about how to start a syndication, all the different types, the laws, the 11 Ds, the things that you need to consider when creating your PPM and all the documents, how to set it up, and then how to find investors. And then that's all the education on Saturday. And then Sunday, we actually do everything, which means that you find a property and you do the underwriting on it. And then once it passes the green light, then you create a deck, the investor's deck, and then you actually pitch it and present it to the group, which is a lot of fun. So it's not just sitting and hearing, you're actually doing it. It's very interactive. And then we have a 6-week follow-up masterminds on Wednesdays thereafter, where we bring in special guests and different people to talk about the attorneys or using self-directed IRAs or things of that type. And then people also pitch their properties. As they're finding properties, they pitch it. They get a one-on-one with Gary and I as far as like what direction they want to go and help make it clear. And they get an investor's exception, which is interesting because that means if we have a fund that's like now it's $50,000 minimum, we can make an exception for them if they have less than that and they want to invest, because we feel they should invest to be able to experience it as from that part of it, as a partner, as a LP part, as well as being a GP. So some people come to the class just to be a better educated and more confident investor because they know what happens and what's supposed to happen and what's supposed to look like. They feel much more confident investing in syndications. And some people want to be a syndicator because this is their exit plan. They want to build their legacy. They want more financial freedom and flexibility and a real estate portfolio.
I love it. That's so good. So, at the end, we'll make sure that we get your contact and we'll give everyone the information to find out more and to sign up if you have any interest at all in being a passive or active investor. This is an amazing opportunity. So.
You're one of the exceptions. One of the exceptional women that have access to syndications. A lot of women do not even know what it is, or they've heard it and they have no idea whether they can participate in it. So you're very fortunate, and the women around you are very fortunate to have you as their leader.
That's why I started Real Estate Investor Goddesses, honestly, because as I got into syndication, first of all, when I found out about it, I was like, wait, why? I never hear about this before. This is incredible. I wish I could have invested. And I'd never heard about this. And I remember talking to one of my law school friends, and I was like, yeah, those things, syndication. She goes, oh, yeah, I know. I've been investing with this other guy who also went to law school with us. Yeah, he's been doing this. I've been investing with him. I've made tons of money. I went, would have been nice if you told me about that. Right? It's like,
people don't know.
Tons of money doing this, right? And he didn't.
Yeah, people don't know. They don't know, and that is like even the wealthiest of all, the Murdochs and all those people. That's what they do. When they buy property, they don't use all their own money. They syndicate it, right? They do it the shopping centers and the buildings and office buildings and medical buildings and all that. All of that's syndicated. They even have a horse that's been syndicated. They have racing cars that's syndicated. Someone has a boat that's syndicated. So you can syndicate anything that you want to purchase and don't have the money or the financing to do so.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So I know when I was learning this and I would be in these big conference rooms with 96% men, that was what inspired me to create Real Estate Investor Goddesses, to bring women in our investor club to just give people access to these types, and give women in particular access to these types of deals, because many don't know. Yeah. So what would you say are some of the common myths about syndication that you'd like to debunk?
One of them is, again, that you have to be rich to participate. They have some that, again, are accredited or non-accredited. And, even though, again, there's some funds wherever you can start. That they, that's hard. Yes.
Before we go on, you said a term that I think we should define for people, which is accredited. Because a lot of people, you ask, are you accredited? And they're like, well, I've never taken a test, or I don't have the certificate. I was like, that's not what that means. So you want to explain what being accredited means?
Sure. Accredited is someone who has $1 million of assets, excluding their primary residence. Or they make $200,000 a year, hopefully for the last 2 years, anticipate in the future, or $300,000 as a couple. And there's some syndications that are only available to them, and that's why many people that some fall in that category don't know about it. But there are non-accredited, or referred to as sophisticated investors, where you don't have to meet that criterion. And there's certain funds that are only, that can accept them. And there's not many of them. There's more of the accredited investors because you can advertise, you can promote it. Those are the ones you hear about. But we do a lot of the ones for accredited and non-accredited investors because our goal really is to get people started in syndication. A lot of our investors have gone from one fund to the other. So they would have never been able to start even if they had to meet those criteria. So that's what's really for people that want to get started. Then you want to go with somebody like us that you don't have to be accredited for.
Yeah, if you are non-accredited, so that one of the criteria is you need to have a pre-existing relationship with the person that is doing the offering. So that's why we in our investor club, we have these conversations with people, we get to know them, and then we establish this relationship. So then when we do have offerings, we have a pre-existing relationship, which is something that you want to do. So you want to get on, if this is something you're at all interested in, go to my website, sign up for the accredited, for the investor club, and then get on a conversation. Same with Desiree, get on, find out how you can get on her list so that you can establish these relationships with syndicators and just get into the deal flow. Just be able to find out about these things, because if we are going to have offerings for non-accredited investors, we're not allowed to advertise it. Right. It's only when we have accredited only offerings. So So get on the list. Get in the
mix. Yes, get on the list.
No obligation, but it just gives you.
Let's join the conversation. We do webinars all of the time. We do different things. So join the conversation. Start learning and finding more about it. Learn about it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be surprised. It's not that difficult.
It isn't. And it's a really great way to be able to leverage and tap into other people's money, other people's time, OPM, OPT, so you can invest in something so much bigger and often more lucrative than you could by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stay in your sweet spot. Stay in your genius.
Yes.
Make your money, but let your money work for you.
Yes. Let it go off and come back with friends. All right. So before we do our Trinity, which is a brag, gratitude, and a desire, how can people connect with you, Desiree? Where should they go to find out about you, to find out about your Syndication Simplified workshop, and to get on your investor list?
Go to Homework, HOMWORK.com. You'll be asked to fill out your first name, last name, email address, and a phone number if it's not required, but if you like. And then that would at least give you access to, if you get you into the system. And then you'll be notified and you're invited to different events that we have. Or contact me directly, Desiree, DESIREE @homework.com. And that's the best way to reach me. I'm open and we'll respond to it in your emails. You can also go to homework.com/simplified if you want to go to that page and see more about the syndications. We have videos there, we have pictures there, testimonials there. So, feel free to go to homework.com/syndication simplified.
Okay. I'm trying to put this in the chat. Put the /syndication simplified, all one word, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, time for our Trinity, which is a brag, a gratitude, and a desire. What is your brag? What is one thing you're celebrating right now?
I'm going to be a grandmother. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. and
when was the grandbaby due?
It's a boy. So I've got two sons. So my youngest son is, just recently got married a year and a half ago, and they moved east. So that's why in August I'm going to be out east, waiting and watching that baby.
Oh, when does
It's
he do?
not
When is
until December. It's not until December. But
okay?
I get out there then. So I'm excited about that.
Well, bragged. I'm excited for you. All right. And what is one thing you're grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for life. For
Mm,
life. The fact that I'm able to live it and
yeah,
choose it and to love the life that I live. Life.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And what is one desire?
Well, we can't wait to my husband to retire next year from Titleist because we're going to live the life of digital nomads. And I desire that date to come May 25 to come quickly so that we can take our laptops and live the life that we promote.
Well, the one thing I can say for sure, and I can't usually say this about people, but I guarantee you 100% that day is coming.
I
That was
desire.
the first time I started desire. I gotta say, like, 100% that is happening. May 5th of next year will happen.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll be ready. I'll be ready to roam the world. Live
Awesome.
the life as a digital nomad. I just think I hear the stories. I have people to do it. I see people to do it. It's like, oh my gosh, like why? You were going to do it. You and your family was about to do that before
I
COVID.
know.
Yeah, you guys
2020,
were.
that was our year to room.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, so sometimes your plans may not come as you expect, but we'll
But
see.
it's still
Yeah.
there. It's still possible for you, and you
Well,
got that
yes.
close to.
Yeah. Then I wish that your desire for this fabulous and fun digital nomadic life comes forth as you desire, or so much better than you can imagine, under great and imperfect ways.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. This was so great. And thanks to you all for being here with us. I hope you've gotten the benefit of syndication. And again, I put in the chat the information to find out more about Syndication Simplified and to get onto that. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, let's get real, stay real, and I'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Ciao.